Integrated Math 3, Section 4.6, the remainder and factum theorem. So the learning targets for this section are that you can evaluate functions using synthetic division, and you can determine whether a binomial is a factor of a polynomial using synthetic substitution. So we're going to look at this first example, and we're going to divide using synthetic division. And so I have my x minus r format already. Get my pen working. So this is already x minus r format. So my r is going to be 3. And then my coefficients go across the top. So I bring the negative 3 down. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. 5 plus negative 9 is negative 4. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. 4 plus negative 12 is negative 8. So my answer is negative 3x minus 4 with a remainder of 8. So now it wants us to find the function for 3, the function of 3. So let's look at the function of f, and let's write the function. And then everywhere there used to be an x, I'm going to put a 3. So negative 3 times 3 squared is negative 3 times 9, plus 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4. And this gives you negative 8. And it asks, what did we notice? Well, the remainder of synthetic division with a divisor of 3 is equal to the function for 3. So synthetic division with a 3 as the divisor gave us the remainder that's equal to the function value for 3. So if we look down here at the remainder theorem, it shows us that when you take a dividend, it is equal to the quotient times the divisor plus the remainder. Just like on a polynomial is equal to the quotient times the divisor plus a remainder. So synthetic substitution is an easy way to find the value of a function. You use synthetic division and the remainder is the function value. Okay, so this next one, find f of 3. And they want us to do it both ways. They want us to use synthetic division and then also direct substitution, which is what we've been doing up to this point in class. So let's do synthetic division with 3. And my coefficients are 3, 6, 1, and negative 11. Bring my 3 down. 3 times 3 is 9. 6 plus 9 is 15. 3 times 15 is 45. 1 plus 45 is 46. 3 times 46 is 138. Negative 11 plus 138 is 127. So our remainder is 127. So now, so we can see f of 3 is equal to 127. Now we're going to do it by direct substitution. We're going to do it the way we have been doing it up to this point in class. So I'm going to write my function. And then everywhere I used to have an x, now I'm going to put a 3 in. So 3 times 3 cubed, 3 cubed is 27, plus 6 times 3 squared, which is 9, plus 3 minus 11. So 81 plus 54 plus 3 minus 11, and that does indeed give us the same answer of 127. So the remainder from synthetic division is the equivalent of substituting in that divisor to the function. So here's another problem where they want us to find the value of the function of -1, and so they want us to use synthetic substitution. So I'm going to use -1 as my divisor, and then my coefficients 4, 0, 2, 1, 0, -1. I had to put those zeros in there as placeholders because I don't have an x to the fourth. I was missing an x to the fourth, and I was missing an x to the first in our list of, in our function. And so I had to put those zeros in as placeholders. So make sure you don't forget those. So bring the 4 down. -1 times 4 is -4. 0 plus -4 is -4. -1 times -4 is 4. 2 and 4 is 6. -1 times 6 is -1, or -6. 1 and -6 is -5. -1 and -5 is 5. 0 and 5 is 5. -1 and 5 is -5. -1 and -5 is -6. So the function of -1 is equal to -6, the remainder. Now we're going to look at the factor theorem. And the factor theorem tells us that if the remainder was 0, then the divisor is a factor of the dividend. So the quotient and the divisor are factors of the dividend if the remainder is 0. So let's take a look at what that means. So they show us that x minus 2 is a factor. And so let's do synthetic division with my r is 2, and my exponent, or my coefficients are 1, -7, 4, and 12. So bring down the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. -7 plus, -7 plus 2 is -5. 2 times -5 is -10. 4 and -10 is -6. 2 times -6 is -12. And so that gives us a remainder of 0. So x minus 2 is indeed a factor because we have 0 remainder. So x minus 2 is one factor. Another factor is, remember, this gets written with one less exponent. So that would be 1 times x squared minus 5x minus 6. So that is another factor. Now we want to completely factor everything out, and x squared minus 5x minus 6 can be factored using baseball, because -6 and +1 can be used as the factors. So we're going to have x minus 2 from before, plus we're going to have x minus 6 and x plus 1. So those are all the factors for this problem up there. The next example, determine whether x plus 3 is a factor and then find the remaining factors. So if x plus 3 is a factor, then when I do synthetic division, and remember it's -3 because it has to be x minus r format, when I do synthetic division, I will end up with a remainder of 0. So bring down the 1. Negative 3 and 1 is negative 3. 8 and negative 3 is 5. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. 1 and negative 15 is negative 14. Negative 3 and negative 14 is 42, which does indeed give us a remainder of 0. So x plus 3 is a factor. The other factor then would be 1x squared plus 5x minus 14. And then with that term, or with that polynomial, we can do baseball factoring. And negative 7 and positive 2 would multiply to 14 and add to, positive 7 and negative 2, sorry, would multiply to 14 and add to positive 5. So we're going to write our factors. And there are your factors.